I should probably start this video off with a confession. The first time I took any interest in Les Miserables was in January when I saw the movie for the first time. Before that, I knew precisely 3 things about it. First of all, that Jean Valjean steals a loaf of bread. Secondly, that Fantine sells her hair to save her daughter. And thirdly, that the book is ridiculously long. And I am very much the type of person who likes to have read the book before seeing the movie, so I was conflicted for a while about whether to abandon my principles and see the film first, and in the end I'm actually really glad that I did. Because let's be honest here, this book is intimidating. I mean, I love a thick book as much as the next person, but it's not even, as much as I hate to make the comparison, it's not even like Twilight, where the font is fairly large, it's tiny. And the blurb on the back doesn't even make it sound that interesting. What I'm trying to say is that if it hadn't been for the movie, I would probably have never read the book, and if I had, I would not have appreciated it as much. Even though I did that thing that I seem to do with every musical when I first saw it, where I got out of the theatre and I was like, yeah, I guess it was okay, and then I proceeded to get obsessed and listen to nothing else for the next 3 months. And I know that I'm like 7 months late to talking about this, but I actually finished the book a week ago, and it's definitely worth the read as well. I know it's got a bit of a reputation for going off on a tangent for like 30 or 40 pages, but even with those bits, it's still an extremely good novel and not as hard to understand as I thought it was gonna be. Probably one of my favourite books that I've read this year, if not one of my favourite books of all time. Although you could argue that that's not really saying a lot because I have lots of favourite books, but whatever. It's just like really beautifully written. Even if you don't read it in the original French, it's really beautifully written. I also think it took reading this for me to properly appreciate Eponine, even though she's less of a sympathetic character here than she is in the musical. Just something about her strikes me as very human and relatable. I'm not quite sure what it is. I'm going to be a little bit predictable here and say that my favourite character is Enjolras. That is the problem with French. I can't properly pronounce any of the names or places. Enjolras.
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 Enjolras. Enjolras. No, I still can't say it. But yes, he's my favourite character because who doesn't love blonde, feminine revolutionaries who are implied to be queer? I also felt like the book gave me a better understanding of Cosette because, let's be honest here, not many people really like Cosette that much. And I don't really blame them for that. When I was watching it for the first time, I remember thinking that it was strange that she was the icon of the entire franchise and you really weren't given very many reasons to like her for her own sake. I mean, it mostly gives the impression that you're supposed to like Cosette because she's important to other characters. It just doesn't focus on her as a person very much. And I get that she's supposed to be a symbol of hope or whatever, but it bothered me a little bit in the book because I felt like a lot of characters thought of her just as a symbol instead of as a person. There are like lots of instances of people not really asking her what she wants and what she thinks and what she wants to do and sort of just making decisions for her. That's part of the reason why I'm torn on how I feel about Marius, because on the one hand, he's clearly a very intelligent guy who sort of sticks to his principles all the way through, but on the other hand, he is really creepy and stalks Cosette. And then after they're married, he makes the decision to separate her from Valjean for her own good without consulting her. But well-written fictional characters are like real people in that they're complex and nobody's entirely good or bad. Basically, what I'm trying to say here is that I really love Les Mis. I apologise to my family and friends who are probably sick of me talking about it. I just wanted to share some thoughts, and I'm interested in your guys' thoughts as well, if you have any. Just anything you want to say, really, about Les Mis. I actually feel sort of empty now having finished this, even though I know that there are other movie adaptations to watch and there are clips of other musical versions on YouTube. Now if you'll excuse me, I have to go and lie in bed and try to sing One Day More by myself. And I will see you guys next week.